Good morning, YouTube. Well, today and probably the next day, I am going to be installing this tankless hot water heater. I can't tell you how well it works yet. I'll let you know. It only cost about $100 on off of Amazon, and that was a major consideration. It's portable, and so I could have it be able to go outside, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to mount it over here on this side because I do have propane coming in, and I can run a line under the bed and back here and coming up. The idea is to tie into this feed line, get up through the ceiling and across and drop down over there. So I got to take this bezel down, and hopefully I'll be able to pull this down enough to do that, to get that line over there. I'm going to, this is the feed line right now to the solar hot water heater on the roof. So I'm just going to tee in here. I'm going to put another valve over in this area so I can use the solar heater because it does work fairly well during the summer. It saved me on propane, but during the winter it's a little this shower's a little brisk. That's why I decided to finally break down and put one in. But what I want to do is tie into the existing delivery system, because this comes down from the roof somewhere, one of these two lines, I think this one, and then tees off to the spray nozzle and to the rain head. I want to tie into that. I'll put a check valve on the roof so I'm not feeding hot water up and pressurizing that. And also put a T so I can come across and somewhere in here be able to drop down and run a line up and through everything to the sink, which is probably going to be day 2. I don't expect to get all this done in one day, but the first thing is going to be to clear a lot of stuff out of here just to get it out of my way, and get to pulling the ceiling down and seeing if I can actually get up doing what I want to do. Ought to be fun. All right, so let's get to it. Okay, so I tied in here, put a T in, another valve. So this is the one that will pressurize the solar, and then comes across, drops down here, and then this one is going to be feeding the hot water heater that's going in here somewhere. So far I got pressurized to this point. I'm testing each way. I got no leaks, so that's good. I'm going to mount the hot water heater here and then plumb to that, and then work my way around to the supply side of things, or the use side of things. I think that's pretty sturdy. Now one thing I'm definitely going to have to do is I had my curtain here. I'm going to have to change it so the curtain is actually inside the hallway instead of in the bathroom, just to keep it away from this, because this might get a little hot. So now, plumbing. So they make these nice little pecs to pipe fittings that just screw on. And the problem for me right now is this is the water inlet, this is the water outlet. They're going to come out the same height. I can't turn this one this way because there's 2 D batteries going here. I can't have a pipe going across there when that opens up like that. So I have to stay clear of that. So they basically, and this is the gas. So I'm going to have to, and they come out at the same level. So I'm going to have to either drop down lower, come across, and I can come out at an angle and come up to here, and then this one bring it out far enough to go across and up. So to keep myself straight, I work one side at a time. So right now I'm working supply side, water coming in, so I've got to get to that somehow. And I can't come back here across because obviously I got to be able to get onto this. So it's definitely going to be coming out, coming across, and then up to where I came down here. So let me figure that out. I am not crimping them at this point. I am just dry fitting them to make sure everything goes together right in case I have to trim anything. And I need a couple more elbows. So I find it's smart. I put the rings on as I dry fit things, and that way they're there. If everything fits, I can just go right on through and connect them up. And at this point, you're saying to yourself, why is he putting a T on instead of just an elbow? Well, the reason is, am I putting it in the right place? The reason is that this gives me a valve down here to drain it if I need to drain the system. But also, one of the things about these tankless hot water heaters is if you get some hard water, over time they will calcium up, and it's a good idea to run like vinegar through them. So what I'm going to do is set this up so that I can hook a bucket up higher, fill of vinegar. It's like a coffee maker. Run it through, fill up the heat exchanger, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side so it can drain out I'll put the tea down here to be able to drain it out. So every once in a while, it's a good idea. I talked to one of the manufacturers years ago, and they actually sell kits now that you can hook on and buy the little pump and buy the special cleaner and run it through. But it's like a coffee maker. You run vinegar through it once a month and you're good. So this is the supply side, all dry fit, and I've got some things to tack this down to the wall. And one of the things people, I'm sure, are wondering, what is this? Why did I come down off the supply, put a T right away and come over? This is going to give me, I'm not sure if I want to put it out this way or up against the wall, probably against the wall. Gives me a way to hook up a jug of vinegar and fill the system up with vinegar. This is just like your coffee maker if you're in a sticks and bricks. It will calcium up. If you have hard water, most of the water you're finding around here out in the desert and stuff is well water, and it's not super soft, so it will calcium up. It makes sense to run something through a mild acid to get the calcium out of there. Vinegar, just like you would run in a coffee maker, I can run it through, and I will put on the hot water line, I will put a drain in down here so we could just fill it up and then drain it out. By turning this off, and this basically just is a way to do it. They do sell a kit that will hook onto the bottom and a little pump and special stuff. And why bother with all that when vinegar will work? So every month or so, I'll just buy a jug of vinegar, and down the line I will figure out a hose to attach to that and run it through. Well, that was a long day for day one. All right, so I got the feed line. I already showed you that. Then I took the outlet line coming over here, got the drain, comes up, valve to be able to turn that all off. And it comes over here because I've got a bus rib right about here that I didn't want to drill through. So this one comes over, and the old line from the roof came into here, so I tied into that. So that now will feed the shower head, which is this one, and the spray, which is this one. Also tied, put a T in coming over to here. Tomorrow, I'm going to run this all the way up through to the kitchen sink, and we'll show you how that all goes in a minute. Okay, we got all this done yesterday, and then I took this piece, went through, it comes into this, down behind all the pantries, behind all this. I had to pull the stove to get to it, snaked it all through, and now I have water running through the hot side of things. Still a little air in it. So now it's time to do the gas. In order to do the gas, I have a stub out up in there. It's going to come through the back of the closet, under the bed, and then back here, which means I have to pull the bed apart to get down into there. So we'll get to that. So I don't know if I ever showed you this, but my refrigerator pulls out so I can get back in here to all of the electric, and that's where that gas stub out is, back in the back here. So it's sort of nice to be able to get back in at all this stuff, and it looks like a mess, but Now I've drilled holes and I've got to feed this soft copper line all the way through and back, so under the bed and into the back. So soft copper is easy to work with, but you got to be careful that you don't kink it like this, because that's no good. Basically, I was pulling it through, it hit the wall and bent instead of unrolled, and hopefully, well, luckily I've got a big piece left over from when I did the stove and the heater and stuff, and I kinked it just if that's what's coming out of the wall, and I want to bring it over up to here, but I'm putting a shutoff valve. It's always smart, at least in my mind. Valves are cheap. This way, I don't have to crawl underneath there where the other valve I just hooked up is. I can turn this off if I ever have to take it out, replace it, repair it, whatever. The valve will be right back here. I can just turn it off and deal with it. So what I've got to do is bend that. I'm not sure. A couple of tools that are handy to have. I've got this tubing bender. I don't know if I can get it into that one, but you can bend all kinds of different things. This is a flaring tool, and here's the other piece to it, and a small pipe cutter. So those are the things I'm using on this. I'm not going to teach you how to use them. I'm sure there's a YouTube video out there that shows you how to use each and every one of those. So I'm going to do this, and hopefully I can do it without kinking it again, and get this hooked up. And then I just need a couple D batteries to be able to fire it up and make sure it all works.